me. But he's been in Cambodia with Hagar since the beginning. He told me the story that he met Pierre back in about 1995. He said, Pierre told me the mission, and I said, I'm in. Mm-hmm. And he has built every building. He's been on every construction project. Wow. That's his service. Mm. So there are many, many ways.
We've got a couple questions here. We do, yeah.
They're good ones too.
They are good. One person is asking, are there laws against prostitution in Cambodia, or is it just ignored a lot of times, you think?
You know, I'm afraid to answer that question. I should know that, and it seems to me there's been a change recently. Mm-hmm. So I'm afraid to answer that question, whether prostitution itself is illegal. You know, enslaving people is definitely illegal, you know, which doesn't mean that it doesn't go on. When you talk about human trafficking, you know, it's everywhere, as you all know. You're engaged in this. And I always say, you know, we have to remember it's at home as much as it is overseas. But that said, there are still places in the world that are more vulnerable, and people within those places that are more vulnerable. And Cambodia, with the violent history, the genocide, the poverty, the dysfunction in the family that came out of the genocide, gender inequities, and corruption in the government.
In the government and police system,
It's a huge piece.
And I wouldn't be surprised, you know, if it is illegal, it's just ignored, which is what someone said here, just not done much to help. You know, we've got some people from our team that are going to be going to Uganda sometime really soon, and we just found out 3-4 months ago that they just passed a law in Uganda that April that actually makes child prostitution illegal, and cannibalism, which is a whole other thing. I'm not sure why they're just now passing that, but it's a given, I guess. But they just now passed it. I think that's right. Child prostitution is now illegal.
Yeah.
Yes.
And,
meaning that it wasn't before.
Right, exactly.
Just now. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe it is legal. I don't know.
Well, not in Cambodia. The child.
Just the prostitution.
The prostitution.
In general.
I don't know. I really don't know. I would have to find that out because I feel like I should know.
It's not
that.
even illegal everywhere here.
No. Correct.
So.
Well, yeah.
But we are involved with a lot of court cases. I mean, that is one part of the journey, and it is an important part for many of the women and children to have, when they get to a strong enough place in recovery, to face their perpetrator and have justice served.
We've got another question, and I think you really touched on this maybe already, I'm not sure. What kind of skills are the women taught in order to give them a sustainable income?
Well, we've kind of, originally we had 3 businesses, handbag factory, soy milk production, and catering. What we're doing now is we have what we call a career pathways program, and we talked about the soft skills, the job readiness already, and then part of that initial experience is career exploration, because these women, they don't know what people do when they go away for a job, you know, in the morning. They've never done it, their parents maybe never did it, and so they go about and they see what happens in different workplaces, and they can make a more informed choice. Then our model is now, we work, it's kind of a apprenticeship sort of a model, and on-the-job training with support from our career pathways staff. So we still have a fair number that go into the food industry. We have dressmaking, seems to be a pretty big interest. Trying to think what some of the others are, other than catering, right. One thing that Hagar has found, I mean, what we're not into much is micro-enterprise. I mean, women from these extremely disadvantaged backgrounds typically don't make good entrepreneurs. What works for them is a supported work environment, and so in most cases we will be finding them placements in those
and
kinds
they are content with that too. Is that right? I mean, are they normally pretty grateful, pretty happy to be in the job that they're in once they're out, or does it seem like they would want to do something else?
Well, I'm sure everybody has future and
Oh, sure.
ongoing aspirations and so forth. But the entrepreneurial piece is just not a very successful
Right.
avenue. There are
Okay.
some that can succeed at that, but there are many, many more that don't.
Yeah.
Do we have any questions
From our
from our audience?
from our audience here, that's
Oh, have
Okay,
you?
okay.
Okay.
oh, you guys are
Oh,
typing
did you type
questions.
some in?
You typing some questions here. Okay.
See how this looks.
It's yeah. You look nice.
No, I'm not looking at me, I'm looking at the
Oh
questions.
well, okay. Those look good too.
Yeah.
I could probably keep her here all night. But
Yeah,
we
I
should
think
probably let her go to sleep.
Yeah, we've got to
before
wrap
she
up.
has to-
Any other questions from you guys before we wrap up, Jen?
Well, can I,
For me,
Amber?
I
Yeah,
thought you were talking
no,
about
I was looking at you.
I'm looking at my paper to see if there was anything.
Well, I've got one maybe.
Okay.
And I don't know how much you know about No Silence, and I think maybe we've talked some about it, but one of the things we want to do is we want to be able to connect with organizations like Hagar and people that are fighting this same fight, and we want to be able to help you guys in some way. And I don't know what maybe we could do, but I mean, we have such a heart for a particular issue of human trafficking, but just, I mean, the whole slavery, suffering, the whole stuff that you deal with is just really big for us, and we want to do something. So what could we do? I mean, as an organization even, is anything that you think that, even just spreading the word about what you guys do, or anything? I mean,
well, spreading the word for sure, helping us with fundraising. That is a very big need, and and we cannot discount, the great power of that in transforming these lives.
absolutely, yeah.
Hagar has gone through rather a difficult year financially. We're kind of just getting on our feet a little bit more. So that would certainly be an avenue where we are trying to reach out cross-country and get people to help us with those fundraising efforts. We do have some hiring needs, and I mentioned briefly the long-term volunteers overseas. For Hagar USA, we are always looking for graphic arts volunteers, and marketing volunteers, people that have IT skills that are interested. Again, it's serving. Who's the IT?
Right here, I'm
Or
looking
the-
right here.
Keep looking over there going.
We're going to send you to Cambodia.
Applications. Taking applications.
On that note, let me ask you, when people go over there, whether it's 6 months or a year, do they raise their own funds to get there and stay there? And
It varies.
Live in.
It varies. We have a staff that receives salaries, and
Right.
it's a regular job. But as far as sometimes there will be a really pressing need, and we're recruiting for that position, and even though it's only, 6 months, maybe it's a project. Sometimes it's somebody like with art therapy or dance, what was the one, music therapy.
Music
Yeah,
therapy.
we really aren't looking for a music therapist, and it may be less likely that support would be provided. In that case, I would expect, if they were interested,
Raise
if there
their
was a match, they would probably raise their own support. I had one other thought. Oh, another need that we often have overseas is English as a second language. And again, it needs to be a commitment of, at least 6 months or ideally more. But that's something that I'm not entirely sure right now if we have that need. We had it just a couple months ago, and I guess I haven't heard if they filled it or not.
Okay. Well, we are out of time. We've got about 30 seconds left before we run out of tape and ability to record. So, Jane, thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you.
We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it. It's been a joy talking to you and hearing what God is doing through this ministry. And For those of you that are watching, the website is hagarinternational.org. That's HAGAR international.org.